Hey, welcome. It's Brian, and this is Guitar Solo Reactions. And today we're continuing in a new series of videos I'm doing where we take iconic guitar pieces, whether it's the solo of a song or a soloette or an actual song that is basically all guitar playing, and we find covers of that song and kind of just look at them, talk about them a little bit, and have some fun. Today we are doing an iconic Eric Johnson piece, Cliffs of Dover. It came out on his second record, Via Musicom. I think that was 90. I believe it was 1988 that Eric first appeared on Austin City Limits, the TV show that would be on PBS. He would go on to do several other appearances as well, but he plays Cliffs of Dover on that, and the record wouldn't come out on Via Musicom. I don't think that comes out for a couple more years. So anyway, that was mind blowing. And Eric's first record, Tones, had come out, which is probably my favorite record of his, as far as like the recording and kind of the sonic quality of it. And Via Musicom has kind of some cooler songs overall, but I just have fond memories of Tones. So anyway, here we go. The first one we're doing is, of course, Matteo Mancuso, who is big as hell right now, and deservingly so. So here we go. I mean, the amount of like jumping around, kind of not just skipping strings, but just octaves and all of that, really cool. And there's some really cool harmonic stuff that Eric does. I'm not sure I caught how he did it, but just hitting a note and the harmonic sounds an octave higher. Some really cool stuff. I think sonically, it's hard to tell. This is a pretty old video. I think this is 7 years old. A lot of these are maybe even older that I'll be doing. So overall, I would say it's a pretty great version. And it just makes me love the original piece more. Although I have to say I've heard it so many times that it's nothing new to me as far as hearing the actual song. So by the end of this, I'm sure we'll have everything together on it. Well, there we have it. Matteo Mancuso doing what I would think is a pretty great cover. Tons of, it's fluid. It's got all those kind of really cool angular moments. And what an amazing song. That's all I have to say. I love that song more and more. I don't think I've actually listened to the whole piece in many, many, many years. So that's the first time I've heard it in a long time. Lots of cool, iconic licks in there. Octave dispersal stuff, however you want to put that, where you... Robert Fripp does this as well. Many players do it. Matteo does it quite a bit, so I don't know if that is something he got from Eric Johnson. Kind of cool octave dispersal thing of like an arpeggio, like the root, third and fifth kind of thing, and spreads them out over the 6 strings or whatever. Holsworth does that too, but it's more, when Eric Johnson does it's a more little guitaristic, like something that the average person could kind of incorporate into their playing. Now, all that fast pentatonic stuff, I mean, it just makes you respect Eric a lot more, or if you don't already, I guess, I don't know, but incredible. Matteo's got his whole, right hand, 4 fingers to do all of that stuff super fast, and, so, I don't know. Anyway, cool version. Moving on to the next one. So our next version here is an acoustic version. I don't know who this is by. Oh, Rhett Butler. Isn't that the guy's name in Crossroads? Steve Vai's character? I can't remember. Anyway, here we go. Cliffs of Dover by Rhett Butler on acoustic. There's some really great elements to this. I think sonically it sounds really great how kind of effortless he's kind of shifting chords and beautifully, just voiced and all of that. Obviously, I want to hear it on electric guitar. And a lot of this stuff, that energy gets lost. So I'm not saying this is bad by any stretch, but I love the energy of the original. It's just kind of that totally, almost to that point of feedback at certain moments. That kind of thing, that kind of energy is what is missing here, obviously. So. There we have it, Rhett Butler doing a version on acoustic guitar of Cliffs of Dover. I think a really, really nice rendition of it. Obviously, like I said in the middle there, I prefer to hear it on electric guitar with that kind of over-the-top energy that Eric brings to the his song, the original. Here, I think he did some really cool, innovative stuff, and voicing and just like using an open tuning. It might just be a drop D from what I can tell. And he had great ideas, and you heard the song there. Now, a lot of that really fast pentatonic stuff that is kind of parsed through the entire song was not necessarily there. There were some emulations or some, hinting at that kind of stuff. But cool version, Anyway, there's Rhett Butler. For the next one here, we had Nelly Brush, and she is going to do it on this amazing Ibanez. Looks like a RG F40 or 540. I know the name, but I don't think I've ever seen her play guitar. So here we go. To me, what would make this instantly better is no chorusing and just the guitar tones. I love distortion. The more the better, almost. This song has really interesting, the original has, it's overdriven, but not over the top. And there might be some fuzz elements in there that he kicks on because, he's got so many different B.K. Butler tube drive or whatever that thing is, and some other stuff, and a fuzz face. So I'm not exactly sure what he uses throughout the original, but tonally here, it's hard for me to listen to. It seems like she's got all the chops in the world to do it. We'll see how it goes. Maybe my thought is maybe she's actually playing along with the original recording, and that's why there's that kind of chorusing, kind of doubling effect. That's maybe why it is like that. So. So there we have it. She, I think, did a pretty great job. I said, like I said at the beginning, or right as it started, the tone that is kind of throws me off. And I think everybody has their choice to sound however they want, play it however they want. But that's just what kind of made me kind of somewhat distracted from the playing, was the tone of it, the guitar. So that's my input on that one. Not my favorite so far. So we've got a couple more to do, and then we'll kind of go from there. The next one here is by Roland. He has a channel, and I've done a few other covers of his on this series that I'm doing. And he always has a lot of views of these songs. So here's his version of it, and we'll kind of assess it as we go, I guess. So this is an interesting one, tonally speaking, as well, because this sounds like a really good plug-in. It's got that weird high-end brittleness that plugins are incredible, and I think many players use them successfully. And if this isn't a plugin, that's even worse. But tonally, I don't really love it. So we'll see. The playing seems okay. And we'll kind of go from there. thing I'll say that's really positive, that it sounds like he came up with a bass and a drum track. I mean, it's emulating the original, but I like when someone puts all that effort into kind of getting that stuff down and not just using the original recording. Now, it could be, I guess, you could just have someone pull out the drums and the bass and do that, but I'm going to say that's the one really positive thing about this version. So Cole has some really great hair, and the tone on that, not my thing, not at all. He seems to be a decent player. Somehow his name, I've done, I think, 4 of these, the series I'm talking about, and I think his name has come up in every one so far, so maybe I'll skip him if he's in the next one. So anyway, there we go. Cole, Roland doing Cliffs of Dover, Eric Johnson. On to the next. So for this next one, I'm not sure what this young man's name is. Jonas Antia, something like that. It says, I practiced this for 4 years. So I've seen a couple of these videos where someone, spends a lot of time kind of perfecting it. I'm going to do another kind of iconic guitar solo type thing that's coming up after this one. And there's a very famous YouTuber guitar player that has worked on something for a while. And I think that's such a great idea, is to show you where you're at. Because a lot of this stuff, if it's not yours, it takes a ton of work to kind of build it up. I have not tackled Cliffs of Dover, and I don't ever plan to. I have tackled things that are really hard for me, but they're way different than this. So I love that idea of just working on something for years and getting it as good as you can. And sometimes that's good, sometimes that's not, great, but it is what it is at some point. But I love that kind of dedication. So we're going to see what 4 years of practicing the song has amounted to for our friend Jonas here. I'm going to start out by saying excellent tone and excellent playing. He seems like he's got the feel of the piece, and he's got great kind of fluidity to his playing, and it sounds killer so far. So that's what 4 years of practicing something will do, I guess. He may be my favorite. We're not done. Yeah. Yeah. So there we have it. I think in spirit, that's the best one so far. Tonally, I think if Mateo would have had his maybe not recorded with a phone or whatever, and this guy seems like he recorded it pretty well, and from my perspective, and his name is Jonas Antia, I believe. Great, he's almost there on 99% of it. It's that 1% where there's a little bit of hesitation, but he's got all the chops. And to be honest, to do the song that well and to put that much time into it, Eric Johnson's like a wealth of cool guitar techniques. And obviously, if you know his history, whether it was playing on sessions with Carole King and I'm forgetting that other guy that he did records with, it'll probably come to me. The guy that did Sailing, whatever his name is, I'm blanking on it. And then he was in bands, I think the Electromagnets, that was one of his early kind of proggy, more fusion-like bands that he was in. And then, Tones comes out, and that was 86 that first record came out. And I believe he might have even been on Guitar Player before the record came out. So there was a lot of buzz about him, and then that record blew up. That sold 1 million copies. And I believe the next one, Avia Musicom, let's see, that sold 1 million, that record. And let's see what Tones... I mean, it was on the radio. Definitely Cliffs of Dover was on the radio, but I believe there was Bristol Shore or something was off of Tones that was basically on the radio too. I could be wrong. Okay, so it was Music Viacom actually that sold 1 million copies. Tones probably did pretty well. It doesn't really list it here, but I'm sure it did well for an instrumental guitar record. Although, I take that back, there's like singing on 3 or 4 songs. And as much as I love Eric, sometimes the singing's a little bit soft or something. There's always something that, on some of the songs it works really well. It seems to work better now. But back then, he just seemed like the guitar was his voice. Why sing? Is kind of how I always saw it. Anyway, let's see what's next. So here we have Lawrence Henderson. This video has 1.5 million views. It was from 7 years ago. They're all around 10 to 7 years old, so maybe even older, some of them. So this might be our last one. Here he is doing his version of Cliffs of Dover. And without further ado. So I'll say, before this gets too far into it, initially I would say his chops aren't kind of exactly there. I like the tone of the guitar. I mean, it's cool, and it sounds kind of close to what Eric was doing. Again, that's not always necessary, but I think this kind of song, it needs a lot of articulation. There's so many things that he's doing. They're so subtle. A lot of these voicings are really wide, apart. They're not like a bar chord, obviously. And then there's lots of open string voicings, and he kind of revoices a lot of the same chords, but all over the neck. And I think that's kind of the cool thing, is if you can get all the way through the song on whatever level, hats off to you, because it's a challenging song. I couldn't do it. It would take me probably the rest of my life to kind of get close. So I'm when I'm criticizing or when I'm saying things, keep that in mind, I guess, that I know I can't do it. But if you've chosen to put this out there and you get these many views, I'm going to look at it and kind of go from there. Again, tone wise, great. The part after the intro, like this part that we're at now, it sounds pretty good. So we'll see how it goes from here. So it seems the middle of the song you did great. It's just the outro and the intro that he kind of like didn't fall apart, but he didn't have all the chops there to kind of execute everything perfectly. So what I will say is a great guitar tone, and he also the rhythm track, the bass and drums. Like I wonder if there is if some of these people did their own kind of versions of it with using whatever plug-in there is. I'm trying to think of what they're called, the kind of nicer ones. But I mean, I wonder if there's that song and it's just the rhythm section part, because I've done a few of them, obviously, we've watched, and they've had some really great sounding drums and bass on them. So, hats off if that's him. I would even, appreciate it more, I think, if I knew that he had programmed the drums and played the bass and all of that. That's quite the amount of time to kind of perfect something like this. So, anyway, so there we have it, Lawrence Henderson, and we are going to call it good. I believe we did 5 versions. My favorite tonally was Jonas. I think he had the spirit of the song, and he was 99% there. And I loved his tonality. I love Mateo's playing wise. Just kind of the tone of the recording was not as cool and kind of original sounding as like a few of these other guys. Lawrence here that we just did, his tone was great. Just the intro and outro playing a little rough. And then there's some in the middle there that kind of, I threw in the acoustic player. I like to do that because it kind of gives you some diversity and it's like a different approach to it. And I would say it was pretty good. But overall, I think my favorite was the Jonas one, the guy that spent 4 years working on it. And it really, really showed. So, anyway, if you like this kind of thing, please like, comment, and subscribe. If you have a favorite or you have another favorite, obviously, to be truthful, when I do all of these, we are setting aside the original. The original is always going to be the best, obviously. But I want to see how people take that original, either make it their own, like the guy playing acoustic, Rhett Butler. He kind of made it his own and put it towards the acoustic guitar. And then we have some people that did, most of these were trying to do note for note. But with a song like this, there's a lot of dynamics, a lot of just like subtleties that are hard to nail. And only Eric Johnson can do that, I think, is kind of, for the most part, people get really close. And we had a few on here that were really close. But anyway, those are my opinions. And please put yours in the comments. I am Brian. I'll see you soon.